So I know Afterburner is this show also responsible? We're okay.
I think we're fine. Yeah. I mean, they started 5-2 with us out of the gate.
Is that number that Pike tweeted last? Is that true?
That's accurate.
They are 6-0
nights we don't do
on nights
Afterburner.
we don't do our post game show.
It's basically Friday, Saturday nights. They love it. The Flames are party boys. They love the weekend. They hate school nights. They hate getting up early. They don't like riding the bike, doing their reading. They don't like doing their homework. They love the weekends.
6-0.
6-0 non-Afterburner nights. And I haven't verified, but it's Pike. He's very good at math.
And what, 2 out of 13? 2 victories in 13 games that we've done?
2, 7, and 4. So 2 out of 13. It's a 308 points percentage, which would have them like in pole position. It's incredible. And we're sorry, and we're for sale.
I'm sorry.
If you want to end Afterburner, cut us a huge fucking check, and we'll shut the thing down. Calgary Flames, you listening to us?
Yeah.
Drew Living, Bean,
anything else?
Murray Edwards, cut us a check. We'll stop doing this thing.
Anything else, Rhett? It's got to be Ed.
No, pull your heads out of your ass and win some hockey games. I don't think it's our fault at all.
Okay.
Well, that too, I guess.
All right. Fair enough.
Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be the Flames to cut us a check. If the Minnesota Wild want to cut us a check, we keep doing these things.
Well, but at the same time, I was listening to Afterburner this morning with you guys. If the Tank for Bedard crew, we could do more shows. We could do maybe twice a day. Do a pregame and a postgame, right?
I don't think it's way for Bedard.
I don't either.
There is. It would just be you'd need to lose every single. We do all the Afterburners, so they lose out, and then you got to probably win the lottery as well. You wouldn't be dead. Have to win the lottery.
Sure.
Do it. This group with Bedard would be great.
They haven't
deadly. That's what they finally need to do is get a real stud centerman. Let's get him. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Where'd that full guy go from last year?
How do you get one of those guys?
You had what?
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. It is a Tuesday that feels like a Monday, but it is a Tuesday. I assure you that's the case. We're here in the Tower Chrysler Studios.
And Rhett, just T's and P's to the shoveler who is missing a whale of a day in Calgary. If you were keen on shoveling snow, it's Christmas here.
Really?
Foot.
Yep.
How long was the commute, Dino? Normally and today?
I was just,
Well, that's what I mean. So how much time did it take?
Well, it didn't take that much time because I just stayed at home. I just waited it out.
You're at home right now?
I'm not going to.
Okay.
I left about an hour later than I usually do.
Yeah, all right.
I can sit in traffic and wait to turn on the bullet, or I'll just sit at home and look at my Twitter.
Oh, at least you're well rested.
You heard me. So the Flames fall 4-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers. It's quite a cast. And listen, when you're the team that's losing, you can't be pointing fingers and making fun. That's not how it works. But the Jackson Stauber, Samuel Ayerson, Mads Sogard, holy
Magnus
fuck,
Hellberg.
it's really quite a cavalcade of stars that the
Yeah.
Flames have lost to in the last 3 weeks.
Christopher Gibson all over the place.
And the thing is, their first period was tremendous. They were very good in the first period, but then ended up giving up a goal and were down 1-0.
Yeah.
They had chances galore.
Yeah, this wasn't the rinse and repeat type loss that they've had this year where you're like, they're settling for bad chances. They're not getting enough chances. That's BS. Don't look at the shot clock. They actually had a ton of chances because you mentioned the first. After that, they had 2 breakaways, like straight, clean breakaways. Could you finish one of those 2, fellas?
Pelche had one. Dubé had one. They had a 2-on-0.
It was Dubé and Coleman with the breakaways.
Yeah, you would hope.
2-on-0. Pelche with a couple chances in tight. Rasmus from like inside the hash on each side couldn't finish. Like this was not they didn't get chances. Don't be fooled. Like it actually was a no-name goalie or a guy we don't know a ton about yet. He's now 6-0 after a long 5 in his first game, but not getting the loss. But the goalie was good, and they did get enough chances to win, and it was not even close in the goaltending department at one end versus the other. Again.
Repeat? Just push the repeat button on the show then?
No, they got more chances than what we've seen.
Yeah.
This wasn't Detroit. They didn't generate shit. There was a ton of chances last night.
Are we thinking they've turned the corner then? Like you're saying,
No.
Saturday was good.
No. It's a loss.
Monday, no. Okay.
Well, I said it on Friday's show. I said if they
smart ass. I'm not even.
If they come out against the Rangers and they're really good, how do you give them credit? Because they consistently play to the level of their competition. Oh, they beat the Rangers. Oh, who's shocked?
Nobody.
They beat the Rangers.
We basically called it.
And then came back and lost to the Flyers too.
They shit their pants against a pathetic effort. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? They'll probably be really good against New York. We all sort of thought it wouldn't surprise us at all. It's a rather likely outcome. And sure enough, they're on them early. They get a couple of goals. It's Markstrom's best performance of the year. He only blows 1 2-goal lead, and they get a point in overtime. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But this is why they're frustrated. They're not bad. They're good when they want to be and bad when they should be good. This is why it's frustrating. If they were just bad at everything, it'd be like, yeah, this is what they are. But they continually show up against very good teams and play well, and then look awful against doormats. They beat Tampa at home. They've taken 3 of 4 off the Rangers in terms of points this year. They got 0 out of 4 against Detroit. They've lost to Chicago twice. What's going on here? Like, what actually is happening? And they're going into Arizona later tomorrow, because it's a Tuesday, feels like Wednesday tomorrow. Arizona's been really good at home. Remember, they went, 2 games at home before 20 on the road? They've come back into that tiny little junior A barn, and they've been way over 500. Look out.
Yeah, the Coyotes who don't want to win.
Yeah.
And the Flames who desperately want and need to win. Go Coyotes. What's the get on the Betway right now and figure out what the
can you get that line early, a day early? Yeah, the Coyotes are now 6th from the bottom. Like, they're not, this is bad news if they want Bedard.
Yeah, this is not good. This is really not good for them.
San Jose worse, Montreal worse, Columbus worse, Anaheim worse, Chicago the worst of the worst.
You know, Rhett, you brought it up on Afterburner last night, and I mean, you kind of agreed. This team, because they've shown flashes, like you say, they're not bad.
Mm-hmm. They have talent.
They play poorly at times, but they're not a bad hockey team. They're not a great hockey team, but they play very well at times. It's that score effect that hits a team. And I feel like the Flames are very prone to that. If they're down by 1, if they're tied, or if they're up by 1, 3 completely different hockey teams a lot of the time.
Not a good look.
If they're protecting a lead or they're up, man, it could slip through their fingers. It's a weird team to kind of put your finger on, but that one extra save would make such a difference for this team, because a 1-goal lead, maybe it's a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
Instead of being down, maybe you're tied.
You shouldn't have been down 1-0 after 1. If you switch goalies, you're probably up 3-0 after 1. Like, it's not close. They got to stop running back to Markstrom after a solid start.
Yeah,
like, kudos for Saturday, but that's like 4 of the last 5 he sucked.
Yeah, and all that stuff that we're talking about right now makes sense, but to me, it all speaks too of a group that's weak in the dressing room. They can't overcome any of the adversity, right? Like, again, you could single it out and say, well, Markstrom, he absolutely needs to make that save, but you shouldn't be that fragile that it ends you and you can't overcome some of this. Like, and I don't think you can blame Markstrom for. You can blame him for results, but you can't blame him for efforts. And there's been too many flat efforts, what we were talking about 5 minutes ago, where you're playing a shitty team and you're worse than they are. You're trying, you're not trying as hard, right? Ottawa, Detroit, Columbus, Chicago, right? Like that Markstrom doesn't control the efforts there. You know, put some of the blame for the outcomes on them, but maybe I don't know. They're confusing and they're frustrating, because if they do get that save and everything changes, who the hell knows what they are? But
yeah,
they're the only ones in the room that can control it. It's my kids. I gave my kids shit today. They're off this week and they're sitting around doing nothing. I said, well, so it's somebody else's job to make sure you're doing the right thing or accomplishing something. It's not how life works. Take it upon yourself.
That's anti-parenting.
Right?
What, it's a parent's job to coordinate shit for their kids? Come on, kids. Grab this world by the tail. You got a week off.
Well, look at society nowadays, Pinder. You keep helping your kids. See how many of them live at home till they're 30.
I feel like that's a rabbit hole, maybe not for the show today.
Yeah, Pinder. I don't know. I've just said it over and over again. They look like they're a collection of players.
Yeah.
They don't feel like a team.
It's a talented group that doesn't add up to the sum of all the parts in the results category.
You know, it took 50 games or whatever for that Backlund, Mangiapane, Coleman line. That feels like a line. That feels like there's chemistry there.
Yeah, always. Since they put that group together, you know exactly what you're getting every single night, and they've almost scored every single night since then.
They were tremendous in the first. Mangiapane had that one that goes off of his shoulder in the power play.
Coleman threw the legs off the post.
Friggin' post late in the game. And Backlund had a couple of great chances in close anyway.
Save, yeah. The glove save late.
But outside of that, I've liked Huberdeau for the last couple of days.
Better.
He's been better. I think Pelche, that's the one thing. I think Pelche's really fit in.
I like him.
To the point he's almost standing out now. Now, maybe that's an indictment on everybody else, but you notice him in positive ways now.
Kadri's more roller coaster than I thought. Like dumb penalties, turnovers, and then like a great play and a goal. You're like, ooh, there's some volatility here. Like it's a couple of games in a row now where it's like, don't take that penalty, including like Lindholm's out on Saturday, right? He gets the misconduct at the end of regulation. So you're going into overtime 3-on-3, list your centers. Like it's Backlund and someone you don't want on the ice. That's a tough spot to put your team in. Now they get the win and Backlund happens to tip the puck in, but your game plan for 3-on-3 is not to have one top 9 center available. And that's on Kadri for running his mouth at the ref when it was already done. You're not changing his mind. The penalty's been served. You're in overtime. Move on. There's 6 minutes left last night. Don't take a penalty that puts your team in the box for 2 because now you only got 4 minutes where you can get a chance to tie it up without a shorty, right?
This isn't something new. So, but
no, it's not. But we're seeing it in these silks now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Toronto Maple Leafs fans know all about this. There's the losing his cool in 2 playoffs in a row there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Daryl shrugged it off last week. He was asked about his record after 2 periods when trailing.
No wins.
13-2 is where that stands now. And Daryl kind of, I don't even really know what he said, but he basically lent very little credence to it. To me, that's an indicator of a team that doesn't have that chemistry, or maybe is a little bit fragile, that they just can't. And maybe some of those games you're not going to come back. Maybe you're down by 2 or 3 and you can't expect. But how many times I would guess out of that, whatever it is, 15 games, how many would have been 1 goal? 11, 10,
they've come back
12?
at leads and blown those leads in a couple of those too.
I feel like that's more
today's
telling
world.
Than Daryl wants us to know.
Well, and isn't it odd in today's world where there's no lead that's you can protect? Like I think we were talking about it early in the year where leads were evaporating for teams left and right, 3-goal leads, and all of a sudden teams are coming back and you end up losing those games. Like it's not the dead puck era where it was score a goal and shut it down, right? It's a whole different world. So the fact that they can't come back and win a game is, well, sad, really.
Yeah, because everyone's doing it, to your point. Like we've seen more multi-goal comebacks in games this year than we have probably in decades, if not like since the game was different when goalies didn't drop down and looked like small people.
Yeah.
And they don't have one. I even think about that Bob Hartley year, 2014-15, the Find Away Flames, and they had, I think, 10 comeback victories in the third, and that was a much less talented group than this one. What we know, the data is telling us, and that's easy to see, is that their goaltending is not good enough at 5-on-5. They're bottom 5 in the league in that category. Their power play is bottom 5 in the league. That's a major issue. And that if you're not going to get both of those things, I'm not surprised if everyone's in a bit of a funk. Because how do you feel good? You're going to lose a lot of games if you have an awful power play and you can't get saves at even strength.
And it's about not doing the same show over and over again. But you mentioned the power play, and there have been a number of games this year where we've come in and said, you can see how the Flames sag after a shit effort on a power play and the other team gets momentum. You saw it twice, both times leading to goals. Guys
Twice
come right out of the box and it's in their net within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's the exact thing we've been talking about, and you had it happen twice.
Yeah.
And not just gaining momentum, but scoring off of your power play.
Yeah, it's And you know what? I don't know enough about power plays like to assign blame. There's enough talent there. And I know under previous regimes, assistant coaches would be getting crushed for this kind of production. We're not seeing enough. I don't see enough. It's too static. And I get that the players have some responsibility. I'm also not seeing, I remember when Marty Jelena was at a coaching conference that I emceed, and he talked about a pass to one person and right back to the same guy makes that defensive posture so much different. Just the one in and out. In less than a second, you force a bunch of people to move. There's a lot of standing and holding. I think it could be coached better. It certainly could be executed better. I don't think we're watching, the savants of coaching on power play here. And whether that's Daryl taking over someone else's file or Kirk Muller or whoever the responsibility falls, there's room for improvement on that side.
Alex, can you throw that board up one more time? For those that are just listening on the podcast here, we have the visual. You just look at the numbers on the left. The power play 25th, shooting percentage 30th. So I don't know what you.
Well, that's quality of shots not great.
Right? Like
so
we've talked about quantity over quality for so long.
Also, probably some damn it feels like the puck luck's not great. And I think mostly it's bad volume, but I think there's also some puck luck in there.
But that 1 second from the bottom, and not to pile on, but everything else just feels like you're wasting your breath. If you have a save percentage on 889 save percent, you're 28th overall in that category, you're just not going to win. You can talk about power plays or efforts or chemistry or line combos and all of that. If you have the 28th worst save percentage, well, they're fortunate to be where they are.
Well, think about it. How many one-goal games have they played with that goaltending? It's wild.
I'll say it again. All the things, everything that the upheaval and everything that happened in the offseason, whether you thought they were going to be better or worse and they missed Johnny Tkachuk, that whole thing. The last thing on my mind, on my list of concerns, is the goaltending going to be okay? That was the last thing I was worried about. Of course it's going to be okay. Vladar looks really good and you've got Markstrom. Those guys will win you games, right? How many games would they single-handedly win you? It's been the 180. How many have they lost you? Can you think of a game where you've said Jacob Markstrom won them that hockey game?
Not many.
How many shutouts last year?
That's a small list. 0 shutouts this year, 9 last year, and you had 8.
So 18 points. 18 total, 18 points out of your standings.
Yeah. Well, and that's why this group's so frustrating, because if they did get goaltending and the power play was even just middle third of the league, it's tough not to see them in a home ice spot. That's how weak the Pacific is and how much one-goal hockey they've played with bad goaltending and a power play that hurts more than it helps. It feels like they should decline power plays at this point.
We haven't critiqued the power play enough, and you're absolutely right. It's brutal. And I wasn't on the power play, so I probably don't give it as much attention as I should, but are they changing it? Have they tweaked it? I see Backlund the odd time standing in front. Do I like that? I don't know. I mean, is it ideal? I feel like I feel like the power play has to run through Huberdeau. I don't know that it does. I mean, we had, oh my gosh, what's his name? He was Versteeg on the other show years ago. He said, you got to have a shot. The stick's got to be in the middle of the ice to be shooting that. I don't even know if they're set up the right way. I remember when
they switched their units coming out of the break. That was a big thing too. They've left the Pelche, Kadri, Huberdeau line as one of the groups out there. And that was a big shuffle because now that's Lindholm at the Foley with Mangiapane. They've done a big change. It just hasn't worked. I like the points for trying something new, but take the points away. It might be worse than the one we watched before the change.
And it feels like the only one that's scoring is Toffoli on that off wing. And that's great. And you're happy for him. And that at least he's scoring some of those shots, but it doesn't, you don't even get momentum.
Now, it's the opposite, right? To Dean's point. They're now sapping momentum with their power plays, and teams are really capitalizing after them.
That one power play, it was so predictable. Konechny knew exactly where it was going. He just skated to an open area, and they just dropped it right to him, or he read it perfectly. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the drop pass that didn't work. Yeah.
The drop pass that didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I am conflicted. I am conflicted because, like you say, Rhett, if you get better goaltending, 18 points, you're talking about a team you're not wondering if they're going to make the playoffs. They would be very healthy in a playoff spot, and then you could look at other things. But I just come back to it. There's just something not right about the team as a whole, and in a way, that they're fighting for a playoff spot is a testament to what's there.
Totally. How frustrated? Like you say something's not right. How about losing a lot when you expected to win a lot? That adds up to being not right. I think this group was very right 6 games into the year, and then they lose 1 game to Edmonton, and all the lines get thrown in the blender, and it feels like Daryl's oversteering. And I'm not saying the season falls apart there, but I mean, since then, they've been a bad hockey team, and that's wearing on these guys. Like we watch Mark. I mentioned it on Afterburner last night. There's some very Mike Smith vibes after goals now, where he's eyeballing defensemen, palms to the ceiling. That's a frustrated guy. That's not a, hey, let's just ride this out. And I know he's intense and competitive, but like it's more than we've seen in his time in Calgary. And that speaks to the level of frustration that has to be not just in the crease, but the whole roster.
Well, I said it after that Ottawa goal, the overtime winner in Ottawa. You could see how it went in short side, bad goal, and how he just kind of
slouch,
just stood up and skated off. So yeah.
Resigned to the fact it was going to happen.
So what do you do, Rhett? 44 is in that locker room. Rhett Warner, you're 28 years old. You're a veteran. What do you do with this team? Do you lock the door and kick the coaches out? Do you take it? What do you do?
It's too effing late for that. Honest to God, dude, like it's too late. Like you never want to. You're not throwing in the towel, but having a screaming match now. If they've waited till this point, then they didn't care enough. Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, or they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, like so now somebody's going to step. Oh, I've had enough. It's time to get going. You're 60 games into the season. Now's the time to rally the troops. Like you've absolutely what?
Have we seen the closed door meeting? Have we heard the players? Like normally when seasons like this unfold, where a team with high expectations, stumbles mightily and is well below everyone thought, we hear after the game, there was a closed door meeting. And whether those work or not, I don't know, but at least speaks to a level of we've got to change this. Have we had that this year? I can't recall one, at least that was public. It doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
I haven't heard about one. So, I mean, we're not privy to that information if they have done it. Typically, they don't work anyway, but they certainly at least show that there's some care factor.
Shows you care.
And right? Like if they haven't done it, you think about it right now. What are they? 57 games into the year, middling at best, have squandered opportunities left, right, and center. And now you're going to have a meeting and say you care about it? Like, I mean, I guess better late than never, but what the hell were you waiting for? Like,
yeah, I suppose, but that aside, because they are,
Dean, I don't know what you say. I don't know what you say to a group like this. Part of the problem is it's a veteran group. They shouldn't have to be coddled or told how to perform and play professionally. Your goaltending stinks. Well, what's a player going to do? Call out Markstrom? Goalies are weird, right? They got to find their own way sometimes, and typically, yes, exactly. And typically, players don't get in the way of goalies. You got to let them find their own path out of it. So, I would have a hard time. The Rangers game, I think I'm talking about the fight game. Yeah, it's the most emotion we'd seen for months.
2 weeks ago.
Feel like yesterday, the Saturday, decent, but you need a bunch of guys to get out of character and play gritty and gross. And I said there has to be a rally cry. Friday, I said it. Something has to galvanize this group into becoming and caring about each other and picking up the battle flag and wanting to accomplish. But there doesn't seem to be a concerted effort to figure that out. I mean, they're struggling and this, that. But there has to be a lightning rod, something that sets this team ablaze and gets them fired up. I don't know what that's going to be.
They've had lots of chances for it. The Trouba hits, Rasmus getting clunked by a vehicle in Detroit. Like, there's all kinds of rally around opportunities here. They just haven't made the most of them. And every time we see one, we're like, here it is. And then the next game, they're out flat. And then you talked about back-to-back wins or two earlier. It's like they, for whatever reason, they can't string positive results together as good as they do look when they're right.
Yeah, it's been almost a month, whatever it is, since they won back-to-back. I mean, you're right, Rhett. I think that's you would know, because between junior and pro, you've been in so many rooms, and you would have seen this, that the word galvanizing, that's what it is. And maybe like those are instances where it could be, right?
Yeah, it's an opportunity for that. Yeah.
I think it doesn't have to be an on ice or a hockey thing. It could be anything, right?
Well, Rhett said last week, it's Gloria coming on the road when the Blues are in a losing streak, and they make it their theme song, and away they go. They rally around it. It's just, there's been events where they could have, they just haven't. But to your point, it doesn't have to be on the ice.
And sometimes it's management. Sometimes management gives.
Yeah, here's a player. Go or trade this guy out of your room. Or it's the coach saying, this is our guy. We're riding him for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, for all they're not getting goaltend, Dan Vladar is 10-2-3 in his last 15.
I still believe that, and Pinder that's true. Vladar should have maybe have more rope here and be getting more games, and maybe we'd be feeling different about things. The issue I have, and I've said it, I always say it, and it doesn't always hold true, but Troy Brouwer comes to Calgary. Why? Well, final contract, big money. How many guys are here doing that?
Quite a few. But it's not the guys that are the problem. Well, I mean, they certainly know that's not true.
It is.
There's been some guys that have struggled mightily, but I don't look at like, Jacob Markstrom could have signed anywhere. This wasn't like take the money. He took less money to be here. His problems are different than take the money problems. But with Kadri, Huberdeau, and Weegar, these are guys that have probably signed the last deals of their career, right? I agree with that. And they've all been less than expected to different degrees.
We like
Tanev's not been a problem.
But
I don't think Tanev's...
Well, he's not been a problem, but has he been the solution? Like, it's easy to go, well, he's not a problem, but no, you brought him in to fucking solve problems. You're supposed to be a leader, and if Daryl's being a prick, he should be one going into Daryl's room saying, get out of here. He's not. And I'm not saying Tanev's the issue. Markstrom's the same thing. He might have got more money. My point is, they're building retirement homes. Right? And that's a figure of speech. Yep. But their mindset.
That's exactly what Kerr was. Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a lot of that.
Michael Backlund's
played. Yeah, Michael Backlund's played real good. He's been here his whole life. Do you think Michael Backlund's focus is on staying a Calgary Flame, getting another contract, and not riding it out, but it's not about winning a Stanley Cup. Is he in the media going, well, if I'm not going to win here, I'd like to go somewhere else? And you think that Michael Backlund's in the background going, hey, Brad, if it's not going to work out here, can you get me to a team where I got a chance to win? And it doesn't make Michael Backlund a bad guy.
Last year.
You can praise him for his loyalty and this and that, but it can be a look into what's important for these guys, right? And I don't care. Michael Backlund can be Michael Backlund. That's his prerogative. But is winning all that's important right now? Is Kadri as focused on winning this year as he was last year with Colorado in the last year of his contract? No damn way. No damn way. Has he been okay? Yeah. He went to the All-Star. Tanev, you brought it up. Well, is Tanev doing... It's hard to question Tanev because he comes with he'll play at all costs. He's a grinder. He's a worker. He's a battler. He's a sacrificer. And it's hard to question that. But is he doing everything over and above to help this team win? I don't know. Is Lucic focused on winning? I think when you brought him in,
he's been an A+. Yeah, Lucic was to get rid of James Neal.
But it's still
lesser two evils from the Flames' perspective, right?
Again, all I'm saying is there's a lot of guys that can go home and not feel too stressed out about where they are. They might not be enjoying the season, but they can look in their bank and they can look in their house and they can look at their lifestyle and they can go, meh, whatever.
It was, I forget who it was that told me in terms of putting a roster construction, putting a team together along the lines of you're probably not desperate to eat and fight for scraps when you're already full.
Mhm.
And that's, you're right, Rhett. It's at the end of the season comes, maybe for some guys, I've already got my cup ring. I've already got my paycheck. I'm sure everybody has their own thing, but I feel like I know if you're making that 7, 8, 9 million a year, what's
For the next?
Yeah.
Where's life going sideways on you? Ah, shit, we lost. Oh, well, we're going to Phoenix tomorrow. Oh, yeah, the wife's happy, kids, I've driven a great car, life's pretty good. I know that people, it's not always about money and lifestyle and all of that, but I think when you have a number of those guys, and that is what you have right now, I don't think it's, I agree. I don't think it's a good situation.
And the catch is that they only have to be 10% off to not be successful. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean complete throw in the towel and on a shift to shift basis, not even a simple number. Like if you don't have that, right? Like if you don't have, the 110%, well, you're not getting it done. You're not going to get it done. The game is too hard. When you're 90%, you better be damn good to think that your 90% is going to be better than the other team's 100.
I think there's absolutely some validity to the point you're making. I wouldn't say that Markstrom's got his feet up. I think he's almost the opposite. He's wearing this too much. And I don't think Backlund and Tanev are anywhere near the top of the list for problems. But I think it does speak volumes to, like, where's Nazem Kadri at? Where are Huberdeau and Weegar at? There are a lot of those guys and it has been a group that's had to be recrafted overnight. And so I think there's a lot of merit to what you're saying. There's also been some guys that have come via free agency that I don't worry about. Like Chris Tanev's the last guy I worry about. You're handing out grades when you sign that guy, what you thought and what you've got. Like it's A+. It's not like, oof, this isn't Troy Brouwer. Like, nah. But I think to your point, there's some other guys you wonder about.
I loop them all together and I do it too much, and Pinder argues with me about it because it does. Both sides could be right on this, but like with Tanev, I bring it up again. Is that you're right? You say he's A+, but why did you bring him in? You brought him in to help you win playoff series.
Yeah,
not winning it.
Yeah, and when he's not in the lineup, they're dog shit.
It's
like we've seen the record. It's not like
it's all his fault.
He's not contributing,
right?
No, of course not. Yeah, and you know what's funny though? Like Hannafin's 1 year away from free agency. I think he's been solid. Lindholm from free agency. He's been very not who we thought he was. Toffoli's 1 year away, and he's been very good. Like one of their most Backlund, a very good season from him. It's a very and honestly, all these things are true. But if they get league average goaltending, where are they in the standings? How much better is morale?
What's more?
All those same things are true.
So a couple things. What the hell was Hannafin doing on that goal last night?
So the switching D on the first goal?
Yeah, where he
it was the switching D on the last goal, wasn't it?
Well, there's
where he half shuffles.
It
was in the second period.
Well, he switches with Erasmus on the first goal. Yeah, and that was
I think, not the first goal.
That Hannafin goals. You're not talking about that one though. Okay.
No, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe back in a little bit to no one, and then watch the guy skate by him. And I thought it was Hannafin, but maybe it wasn't.
Zadorov's the one that gets caught lying down
out
the last goal. That was a Weegar misplay at the line. Pelche has to cover for him. And then
there's a Weegar out there.
Yeah. Man, Weegar is wild.
Anyway,
the mistakes all end up in his net. And then it's like, he won't allow shots for many shifts in a row. It is quite the dichotomy.
What do you want from this team? Like, you talk about Toffoli.
Goaltending.
Well, no. Wait. You talk about Toffoli. He would be a movable asset, would he not?
Oh, big time. There's lots of guys who get.
And do you
lots
want to
for.
ride it?
I just think that.
But that's my point. They have to be having these internal discussions, do they not? Problem might be is I don't know if Tree and Daryl are talking. But you would think as an organization, yeah, there has to be internal discussions. I pray there's internal discussions going on, because if there's not, somebody please tell me what direction this team's going in. I will. Remember when they didn't trade Gio a couple years ago, and it was appalling to a few of us, Pinder, you being one, me being another. Some people are like, well, you can't trade him, which is ridiculous and stupid.
You lose him for nothing instead of trading him? What the hell are you doing?
Exactly. If that's the same approach that they're going to have this trade deadline, what the F are we doing? So
honestly, the difference is they don't have a significant player expiring that's worth a lot. There's a lot of guys that expire next year, as we talked about. 6 key guys, 3 really good D, and 3 really good forwards are all up next year. So they're not at a spot where they're going to lose a guy for nothing. And so I could certainly be convinced to shed what's at the deadline. I don't know that this is the best climate to sell a guy with a year extra of term, in the sense that if you trade a guy next year, you can eat some salary and really get a haul. Whereas everyone's gummed up with questions about the cap for next year. I don't know that anyone wants the second year of Toffoli as badly as they might want him at half price next year. I think you still have a lot of assets that are worth a lot next year if this thing falls apart like it is this year.
5 games before the line, at Arizona, at Vegas, and then at Colorado. You wrap the month with a home game against Boston, and then you host Toronto the day before the deadline.
Isn't the deadline the
Doesn't
third?
that
crazy?
Okay, and I don't disagree with you there, Pinder. You know, with those contracts having another year, and it's just I don't know how I'm going to feel going in if they don't do stuff, and I'm sure they will some way. So something's going to happen before the start of the next year. But if you miss the playoffs this year and you don't make trades at this trade deadline, and you're going into next year with a full roster, basically, are we going to be content starting next year with a similar cast of characters?
I mean, the expectations would not be good at all, but that's kind of where these teams have been good.
Well, and what's the drag on them?
Good, they should have been.
What's the drag on the whole? I mean, if they can't pull themselves out of it now, they're going to go through an off season and show up at training camp again with a bunch of guys that they couldn't win, for next year. Doesn't make sense.
I think if we look at the 2 issues that statistically have killed them the most, it's power play and goaltending. So goaltending's volatile. Maybe you get a way to get Dustin Wolf up. Maybe it's what's so frustrating about this group. It's a talented roster. Like I think if you spin the season a few times, there's a couple of years where this team's really good. Like they just haven't had goaltending and power play.
Is Winnipeg a good example of just hold fast?
Totally. Well, they didn't change their coach. It wasn't hold fast, right? But it's the same roster. And their goaltender bounced back. It went from 905 to like 930 or whatever. Like of course things are better in Winnipeg. And sometimes you chalk it up to all these intangibles that you can't measure. And it's like, well, shit, they just weren't getting saves. Coach is a big one too. There's defensively, they're
Winnipeg.
Much about Seattle.
Coach.
Which Seattle? The one that can't win the last month, or the one that was in first place a month ago?
The one that's
they're getting more saves, but middle of the pack.
We're in studio in a little bit. Right now, though, and this is not, I feel bad for McLeod Law, because McLeod, they're proudly Calgarian. They love taking care of Calgarians.
They're good boys.
If you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to. This is the people that they want to help. They want to be on your side, and they will be on your side, and they want to celebrate. Flames.
Good vibes.
Good vibes. Maybe. Remember when we had the Red Mile and Kipper was great and all that sort of thing. McLeod Law, Flames history.
Really?
It was February. Well, let me take you back when Vegas joined the league.
Yep.
Their first visit in Calgary, 4-2. They beat the Flames January 30th, 2018.
Okay.
Then February 21st, on this date in 2018, the first visit of the Calgary Flames at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. It was 1-0, 2:28 in. It was Carp Dog, Ryan Carpenter.
The Carp Dog, future Flame.
That's right.
Future forever a Flame.
Because that was, remember back, it was Vegas. They're going to score in the first 3 to 5 minutes.
You
for
just
sure.
bet
It's just, they're going to be
first
up
10
1-0.
minutes goal made people rich.
The building's just, your chest is going to be thumping, or you're going to feel your lungs vibrating from the noise in there. 1-0, then the Flames tied it at 1. Then it was 2-1 Vegas, Flames tied it at 2. Then it was 3-2 Vegas, the Flames would tie it at 3. I believe in that game, Kachuk got into it with Marc-Andre Fleury. Remember, they were kind of
sounds about right.
going at each other. Fleury got a penalty in that game, actually. They would then score, they being Vegas, 4 unanswered, and won that game 7-3. On this date, the first visit of the Calgary Flames.
We were staying at was it the Hard Rock Hotel?
New York.
New York. Thank you. I was confused too. It was New York. You're right. The Crepe Place and the buildings in there.
That's right. Yeah.
And I believe we were right in the middle of Winter Olympic time. The epic Peter Labardius call on the morning show, as some professionals, I guess, combed over the lobby when we were up very early in Vegas, and it was the mom's trip for the Calgary Flames, Dean. And all the moms, Mrs. Gaudreau, Mrs. Monahan, Mrs. Bennett, they're out having a time. And the boys are like, where's mom? Can we make sure she gets to bed? And they didn't get, one shot or no shots in the first 11 minutes of that game.
It was a rough start.
They were absolutely embarrassed in front of their bleeping mothers in Vegas. There was no excuse because their moms were there. They weren't out howling at the moon. This wasn't the Vegas flu.
I remember that one because by that time, we'd all seen what was going on in Vegas with the pregame, and Knight coming out to center ice and doing all that stuff. And I just remember sitting or standing because we were in that one suite. I remember looking at you, Retro, was like, this ain't the Saddle Dome. It was so bloody loud in there. And truly, the bass and the noise, you could feel your diaphragm, your chest. I don't know.
It's a nightclub.
I can only imagine how the old blue hairs at the Dome would feel if that was what it was like for a game-by-game atmosphere here in Calgary.
Well, you can't. It's not Vegas.
They would.
That's why Vegas is Vegas. That's why Nashville's Nashville. That's why Montreal's Montreal. They're unique because that is the norm.
On that night, Vegas hit 84 points, and that was a new record for points by an expansion team, passing the 93-94 Florida Panthers.
So you're saying at the tail end of February, they set a new record.
That's correct. Yeah.
So they still had all of March and half of April.
And that 84 points set a new record. It also gave them the NHL overall point lead.
Jeez.
Expansion team first in the overall standings.
George McPhee did
in
some
February.
Did some work. I think that Vegas team would be this year's Vegas team.
And you want to talk about, because we talked about it at the time, here's some misfits and outcasts and all that coming together. You want to talk about a team that had chemistry and had an identity, that loved one another.
Well, and an event to rally around. There was that horrible shooting at that country event that was held outside the hotels on the Strip. I mean, all those ingredients that Rhett's talked about, not that you want something tragic to happen, but it was an event that people rally around. That was the tightest group in the league that year. It was in the final to Ovi.
They had a real bond, those guys.
5 games against Winnipeg? 5.
I don't know.
You know exactly.
Ryan Reeves beat Winnipeg.
I was happy for
scared of him.
Peeing down their legs.
Call Peter Klein. There he is. If you look at, there's Peter.
See Peter? I don't see Peter.
I see him on my.
Okay, good.
Peter Klein, McLeod Law. I do my best to give some help and hope to the hopeless. Attaboy, Peter.
There he is.
God love you. Call Peter Klein, 403-254-3860. The site McLeod-law.com. They're on across the social media platform, McLeod Law LLC. Personal injury, just general, whatever it is. But certainly with Peter Klein, it's about helping you chase down your personal injury claim.
He said something interesting when we were there that, if you're in the firm chatting and clearly you're under some stress. This isn't like the best time of your life. Something's happening where you need legal help. You're probably not in, hey, this is my 3rd day at the all-inclusive in the Dominican. It's different vibes. And he said, there's lots of lawyers that can do the work, but we try to understand that when people are coming in here, they're under a lot of stress. It's a rough time to help them.
Yeah, you feel like you've probably kind of getting ganked on a little bit.
Run over maybe.
Who wants to take your side? That right there. Peter Klein. McLeodlaw.com. I think we're going to take a break and we'll get our guests set up.
You got a guest?
Before we do that, a couple things. We're going to do the Pinder report momentarily. Congrats to Rachel. Rachel, who is on the Insta at Food MWG, I believe, on Instagram. Rachel was the winner of our Montana's $100 gift card.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to go to a Montana's barbecue and bar, and she's going to have whatever she wants to the tune of 100 bills, and that's going to take you far, Rachel.
She's going to see food, all right.
I'll tell you, thanks to Montana's for coming on board, making people winners, taking care of us. That night we went out, and the comfort menu, the food is great, and again, as they've said, just buy.
It's Tuesday.
No pretense, just swing in, and we'd love to see you. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Go have tacos
Hammer some
today.
tacos.
Yeah. So thanks to Montana's for being a part of the show, and congrats to Rachel for picking up that $100 gift card.
There go, Rach.
Richie. Pinder Report. It is a presentation of Village Honda, Northwest Auto Mall, online villagehonda.com. The new 2023 Honda Passport Trail Sport is in stock. It's very stout and sturdy. Looks tough, looks mean. Stop by Village Honda today. Check it out. That and more. Northwest Auto Mall. They are your dealership for life. It's the Pinder Report.
All right, Flames last night, a matinee for the kids. Nothing like bringing your youngster to the game and watching a fight less than 2 minutes in. Hey, Dean. Great start for the Calgary Flames. Maybe one of their best first periods of the season. They trailed 1-0 at the end of 20 minutes. There's a lot more on this game on a little show called Afterburner. Some people call it a jinx. We call it a show. Here's a little sampling from last night's Afterburner following another loss to a bottom dweller 4-3 to the Flyers. Wasn't good, was it? No, we don't have the clip. All right, so we don't have the clip. You mentioned it earlier. There's quite a list growing of goaltenders that you might not have heard of before this year, or even at earlier, points in time this year that the Flames have fallen to. Let's have a peek at the recent list, which is certainly not pretty. Now, it doesn't mean these guys don't play well, and they might be very good goalies down the road, but look at the last 5 goalies they've lost to. Ersson, Hellberg, Sogard, Halak, who's actually pretty good, and Jackson, not Jacob, Stauber. So that it's not the who's who. It's a backup in New York who's quite good, and 4 guys that you didn't know for sure would be in the league right now if at the beginning of the year. None of them would be top 2 on the depth chart.
It also goes to show you what other teams think of the Flames. Now, granted, Halak, that's on the back-to-back, and maybe some of these others, it was 2 games and 2 nights. I don't know.
Well, injury in Ottawa, but injuries in Chicago, back-to-back for the Rangers. Can't speak to Detroit, but it was a back-to-back as well. And Ersson, 5-0, back-to-back coming up. Oh, no, they're not. They're back-to-back. Weird. There's a bigger list too, Dean. It's not just the last 5 games. It's been all in the year as they're you know what they are? They're placing a magnifying glass on the great young goaltenders in the NHL. Eric Comrie, Joey Decord, Kevin Lankinen, Antti Ranta, Jake Allen twice, Elvis Merzlikins, Spencer Martin, Thomas Greiss, Phoenix Copley, Stalock, Stauber, Halak, Sogard, Elberg, Ersson. All those guys outplayed Jacob Markstrom, it feels like. Maybe it was.
Which one hurts the most there? Is it Spencer Martin?
I feel like they had Mads Soberg right in the crosshairs.
Or Sogard, yeah.
Choked up to whatever his name was. Stauber was tough. There's a lot of tough ones. It'd be tough to rank those, Dean. I'm going to be honest. Real tough to.
Good stuff.
And just in case you're thinking, don't worry, they're going into Arizona. Well, we're glad you're out of your coma, but in this season, actually, Flames fan, they have a tough time with the worst teams in the league, or at least teams you might take for granted. And careful now, because look at the Yotes, 13-8-2 at Mullet Arena. Business in the front, party behind the rink. They've been doing all right in the junior size barn. Careful. Everything's careful. There's no points given.
Why aren't we there?
Who do we blame here?
We should be there.
Can I blame you? We blame Rhett?
Right?
Rhett said no. Did we blame Rhett?
I didn't say no to Arizona.
Right, your fault.
It's not true.
Here's a look at the standings. It's not a pretty picture after you lose ground on the Wild and don't get 2 points yesterday. They're now 2 back, and Minnesota has a game in hand. Not ideal.
Does
Schedule
Nashville have
here's
better win percentage now?
No, they're behind. But if they win all their games in hand, they'd be ahead of the Flames. So if they play 1,000 hockey in their games in hand, they'd pass the Flames, which is 3 games. Yeah. I like the goaltending better. Here's the schedule. End of the month and the beginning of March. You noted it. 5 games till the deadline that falls March 3rd. And there are 2 games against Minnesota over the course of 4 nights, one here, one on the second half of a back-to-back on the road. Those will go a long way in determining where you're at. You wish those Minnesota games were ahead of the deadline, Dean. It's unfortunately after the deadline.
I think, yeah, I know the point.
They won't need the Minnesota games to decide. It might be irrelevant anyway.
We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Where are they going to be at the deadline? Say, well, probably where they are now. It's kind of what's been the case.
We looked at this month coming into it, and you knew that it was going to get, by the time you got to Vegas, Colorado, Boston to end, the start was done. It ends with this Arizona game. So far through this soft part, you've gone 2-3-2.
But guess what? The good news is they actually play like shit against the soft part, and they're good against the hard parts of the schedule for whatever reason.
I wait for that Boston game.
Yeah, Boston, Toronto. That's a whole different level.
Real good, yeah.
Colorado? Heck yes. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the NHL. Rhett, guess who was the second player to 40 goals in the NHL yesterday?
40 goals. He's got to be
going to get paid this summer is your clue.
Tkachuk.
Not Tkachuk. He got paid last summer. It's David Pastrnak that's going to get paid this summer. He was sensational last night. 2 goals in a Bruins win, including the game winner. And, just another 6 shots on net for him. Here's what was the game winner, Zink. And that was after Charlie McAvoy completely turned the guy inside out at the point. Pastrnak probably got a great shot at being the highest paid player in the NHL.
So again,
for next
that team here next week.
There you go. Exciting. Can't wait. Better the team, better they play.
Must
be unreal. Ryan O'Reilly got traded on Friday night. Nothing like that Friday night news drop, hey? But people love this in Ontario. And now that Ryan O'Reilly's a Leaf, we get to hear everything about him, right? You know what color underwear he wears. We're going to meet his dog here. No one met his dog in St. Louis.
Everyone, it's Ryan O'Reilly here. I'm here with my dog, Pam. Pam, you want to say hi? Okay.
You hear the growl?
Hi, Pam.
Also, you're new on the team when you go to give yourself the old cold water shower, but it's actually the BioSteel shower.
I saw that.
You're a new guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't know the water from the juice.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
And hit a crossbar the other night. Helper. More on O'Reilly in our Betway Bets of the day later. Mm-hmm. Other action. Connor Hellebuck.
I like O'Reilly, but I don't want to cheer for him as a Leaf. Although Gio's still there, and I feel bad about you. I'm really in a conundrum. I'm in a real conundrum with this Leafs.
Oh boy, that's pink. That's not clear. Whoopsie.
Well, I was going to ask you because I think this is the 3rd straight year the Leafs have picked up a captain at the deadline. It was Foligno last year. And I forget who it would have been Gio, I guess, before. St. Louis didn't have a problem trading their captain, hey?
Free agent. Got to get him out, get some assets.
Not every team, it's not that easy sometimes. You have trade those guys.
I feel like it was the exact same spot. You were on the outside looking in.
Teams
One team was honest with where they were. The other one wasn't.
So it's possible that we could have had a 1st-round pick right now?
At least a second.
Whatever way we saw.
Yeah. Could be a player on the roster right now. That was years ago. Jeez. Hellebuck good. Having a monster year, Dino. 50 saves on the road last night as part of a back-to-back for the Jets, who win against the very good New York Rangers, who picked up points in 8 straight. One of the best performances of his career, says this beat reporter. And you want a little more on Hellebuck? Well, here's him post-game. He didn't seem too fussed about it. 50 saves, dude. Come on.
Guys are letting me see pucks. They're battling on rebounds, so, it was a pretty routine night. I got a good rhythm. Guys are letting me see pucks. They're battling on rebounds, so, it was a pretty routine night.
You know, they let me wear so much gear. You know, like my pads and everything is so big.
It's kind of not fair.
I feel bad for the shooters, frankly.
Well, and you want to see where the shooters are shooting from. Don't feel too bad for them because this is quite the heat map. That on the left is Hellebuck's night. It's just Starkin on the right. Are you kidding me? The red ones go in. Look at all the action around the net. Vesna? Sorokin gonna say something about that.
I don't give a shit.
Doesn't give a shit. We'll move along. You know what you do give a shit about is Salt Lake City and a good night out in Utah. Here's Charles Barkley and Shaq, our favorite sports commentators, commenting on getting out, having some fun. SLC, woo! Or maybe not because it's Salt Lake City.
These people going to heaven up this way. Ain't nothing to do with this boring ass city.
Now it's boring.
It's boring. Ain't nothing
I
to do
thought
with
it was
this.
great. You just
It's a great city.
No, you just was like,
these people,
oh, ladies,
hey,
this is great.
it's a great city, but ain't nothing to do here. These people all going to heaven.
Oh my gosh! I never ate so much room service in my life.
Can't smoke, can't drink. These people going to heaven.
Where they going?
They going to heaven.
We give you 1 week.
Yeah,
One more time. Yeah.
They going to heaven.
They're going to heaven.
Can't get in trouble in Salt Lake City. That's why they're going to heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it on the weekend. Patrick Mahomes has a uncanny similarity to one of our favorite fictional athletes. You probably saw this.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. This is
Yeah, no. So we started off. They actually threw a nice party for us at the hotel. The Chainsmokers came through. DJ Khaled came through. I had the goddamn Spoon Man from the Soundgarden videos coming to my shit.
No way.
Oh yeah, I'm talking 6 grills burning at all times. Tiki torches, 3 whole pigs, fucking shitloads of macaroni and cheeses, baked potatoes, collard greens, a horse, fucking Puerto Rican chicks showing their pussies and tits off everywhere. You can't beat that, man. That's every genre of music you need right there.
it's just unbelievable.
It's really good.
I'm sorry about the language, Rhett. I had to show you that.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry,
my.
Rhett.
Sorry, Rhett. I know.
Yeah.
I know you don't like cursing.
Kenny
Poor
Powers.
One of my favorite shows.
John Rahm won again. That's a good 6 weeks for the Spaniard. He just made $9.4 million. 6 weeks.
6
What?
weeks. Well,
And yeah, it was a
I
hit in
said-
LA because Tiger was back, and there's some money in golf all of a sudden. All you needed is the Saudis to start up a league, and all of a sudden, there's all this money in PGA. Where we found out the
Weird.
mattress, another 18
What
million.
the-
Okay, there you go, guys.
Huh.
Finally, a couple items to close on.
You didn't close on the Mahomes?
We got better. Because
Okay.
we got big news coming up. Announced this morning, Flames Nation, we got a new villain in town. Huh?
Is that right?
We got Sting jumping back. Look at this, Rob Kerr. Just a game, 3 times a week. That's right here on Flames Nation.
You got to read the tweet. For people that are just listening, they don't know what the hell you're talking
Just
about.
said Rob Kerr, proud to join the Nation Network and join and host just Rob Kerr 3 times a week.
Really?
Amazing. And the more things change, the more things same. Because remember when you didn't want to wake up early and you,
Yeah.
let's see the tweet from
Oh, did you grab it again? Yeah.
2 a.m. Dean up again, tweeting rather than sleep. You're not at the station at 3:30 anymore. 4. Feel free to hit that snooze button.
1:40 this morning. 1:43.
More than this,
I
the
guess
same, Rhett.
so.
Sorry about that. And it's weird. Like
you tried
you
the.
come into the room and you can tell the mornings that there's a 2 a.m. tweet. It's just like word answers, little rain cloud, grumpy.
But
Don't want to talk about it.
if you're,
Not
if you're up at-
communication drops to about
Can
a 1 out of 10.
hang on. Now, if you're up at 1:45, okay, I can't get back to sleep. This is the shits, blah, blah, and I'm not taking a gummy, and Boom's going to be stubborn and not try to sleep. He'd rather just be miserable. But Ryan, this is a question for you. If you got up at 1:45, first of all, you wouldn't, but if
Yeah.
you did, like, do you get up? Do you make French toast? Do you make bacon and eggs? Do you have a breakfast? And then, maybe do some tweeting and some research, spend an hour at the gym or maybe riding your bike or getting some sort of fitness. And I mean, literally, that person beside you there, he could get up, have a full day or 4 or 5 hours awake, get a whole shitload done, and actually get back to bed for a 2-hour nap if he chose. Now,
Yeah, shovel the walk.
would
if he
you
wants
do that?
today?
Right? Like
My
if you
answer
get
would
up
be
at
not safe for
2,
work at what I do if I'm waking up at 1:45 in the morning. But, hey,
right?
everyone's
Like there's
wired.
time to get in a
Uh-huh.
nap in between 1:45 and
Makes a guy
10:45.
tired.
Serotonin? What is that?
Are we done?
Dean, have you tried the
That's your
new?
Pinder
They've
report.
got those ear. It's not. We got the cans on, or I
Ear
do,
lights?
and it's not. It's kind of like a headband, and they've got a noise system in there that's supposed to help you sleep. It covers your eyes. Like, have you tried these things? What about my mask? I'm going to get you a Cleopatra mask. Do you want the mask?
Yeah.
No, I
Get
don't.
one of those Star Wars masks. Look unreal.
don't
Get
need
a
them.
No,
Stormtrooper
you'd rather get up
mask,
at
you'll sleep
1:40.
great.
He'd rather get up at 1:45. He doesn't want any help. He's content with this. Oh boy.
I know what's helping it. Tweeting at 2 a.m. certainly is helping.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
Well, that's what they say. Make sure you stare at your device before bed and as soon as you wake up. Absolutely. Grab that phone.
It was 1:43. I tweeted at 2:00 when the towel in by then. I'm like, I'm not getting back.
How many Peloton rides this morning?
Are you done?
That's Village Honda. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Village Honda detailing packages starting at only $79.95. Once the snow gets gone, then it's going to be all wet and sloppy and gross. Give it some thought. Get it in there. Protect your vehicle from the harsh elements of winter and book your detailing package today. VillageHonda.com.
Just so you guys know, they're golfing here today.
Well, we can't all live in Buffalo, Rhett.
Yeah.
We can't all Buffalo. We are going to break.
Oh.
We're going to get set up. The King Afternoon Radio in Calgary is back. Rob Kerr in studio coming up. Stay there. Little heel.
Big time heel.
Coming back.
Get some coffee.
And just a quick break. Thanks for allowing us that. We're here in the Tower Chrysler studios. You talk about memory lane. Now I'm a little foggy, but I'm gonna say it was probably around 0203. I'm working in Red Deer and listening to 960 radio, and there's not a lot going on. There's a morning show, and then there's kind of a lot of canned stuff, and then there's an afternoon show. I remember I was driving home from a Flames game one night, and the post-game show ended by the time I got to Airdrie. And I was thinking, I'm going to listen to the post-game show and all that all the way home to Red Deer. It was done by Airdrie.
What are they doing?
And then I remember there was a job posting on Milkman
Unlimited.
Yeah, it was afternoons at what was then Fan 960. I'm like, I want to get that job. And I heard through the grapevine that a guy from Edmonton had applied for the job. And when I heard who it was, my default was, and I'm not even trying to butter him out. It's like, oh, well, that's the right guy. That's the guy he's the guy to hire, because he was doing late night stuff in Edmonton on a Christian station. It had no business being where it was or being a thing at all, but yet he made it a thing. It was energetic, and it was exciting radio. Then this guy starts in Calgary doing afternoons, and to say that he changed the afternoon show would be selling it short. He changed that whole station and how shows were constructed, how you had to start putting more thought into how you were doing things, and sponsorship expanded and show lengths expanded. And all of a sudden pregame shows were not 15 minutes or half an hour. They were an hour or an hour and a half. And then the postgame show, it went till, if no one was going to stop him, he wasn't stopping.
If they're still calling, I'll keep taking calls.
It's the 04 playoffs, and the Flames win in Vancouver and fly home, and he's still on the radio. Craig Conroy calls, I can't believe this. You guys are still on? That game was over hours ago. That's right. And he just, whether it was the draft or the afternoon show or playoffs or whatever it was, he changed it all. The Hot Stove Lounge was never a thing till it was a thing because he made it a thing. And I'm happy to see him here in our studios and welcome him to the Flames Nation family, because the king of afternoon radio is back. And I'll let him kind of explain. It's Rob Kerr, and Just a Game makes its debut today on our Flames Nation right across the board. We'll be going live, and obviously podcast. We'll have all those details. But here you are. I wasn't sure that we'd be doing anything together again. You just don't know how the business works.
You don't. You're walking down the street in Marda Loop, and you come across a little sign at a place, and you go, well,
you saw that, hey?
That's,
Help wanted.
That's not bad. And then this is what hooked me. Right there. Because I am very pro noodle.
You want noodles and noodles?
It's close.
I said, I'll do this if I can do it from the Oodle Noodle studio.
Right.
And here we are.
Here it is.
And here we are.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Smooth, eh?
Right?
So the show begins. Now, this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
When did we first have a conversation?
First time.
Because it's taken a while.
I say probably before the departure for you guys. And then it got in earnest after that. I would say I at least we explored or had that conversation. I think we were all kind of going through what is the next generation of sportscasting going to be, because clearly it's evolving. It's it's adapting, it's changing. And, I know I certainly took a look at some really neat opportunities and great opportunities, and safe to say you were courted. They came hard after you, and they got you guys. And then I would say it really took off for earnest after I popped in November, and we had a little chat, and got to see what it was all about. And it's pretty cool. Like I've been teasing that I'm going home, and I, for some people that's one thing, but this is really me coming home, because Just a Game has got some real significance to me, because that was my first ever sports talk show. That's what it was called, Just a Game with Rob Kerr. It was everybody's been really nice today. And somebody put out there, great, Jason Gregor's putting something on the Flames Nation. And I'm like, well, Jason was kind enough to give the name back.
Yeah.
But because he took it after I left.
So that's what everyone misses.
Yeah,
right?
everybody misses that part. And then the other part is, when I had that show, I was part of a internet start, anysportanytime.com, and we were broadcasting games and sprint car racing and high school football and AJCAC hockey and basketball and all of this on Real Player. The problem was in 2001, 2002, the internet was still fairly new, and your adoption rates and sponsors weren't as savvy as they are now. But I mean, look at what Playmaker Capital views the Nation Network, and look at what the Nation Network has done. This is the place to be. This is the place to come and be part of this, I think, is the next generation of sports talk in our country. So I'm really excited about the opportunity.
I know, and we'll probably save some of it for your show.
Sure.
You must be hard up because you're bringing me on show number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not? You need an assistant.
Well,
you need someone to book for you.
I was talking to the Wolverine, and he said, if we could, if we could do something on that first show that would be explosive right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I said, kerboom. And he goes, yes, if it could go bang. And I said, no, kerboom. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing back kerboom for an hour.
I'm excited about that.
So did you think that you'd be, because you left, you were doing sports radio.
Yeah.
You went and did play-by-play.
Yeah.
You then came back to radio.
Yeah.
Kind of begrudged. It was, it was.
Yeah.
And then you left.
Yeah.
Did you think that was it?
I did, because I thought it was over for the genre. I thought that, I thought podcasts would fill a void, but I thought the genre had changed. The platform had become more about promotion and more about, if you're a big corporation using the radio kind of leverage the shows can leverage the space between the ads. And that's how I felt. So not anybody else. And I'm not putting that on anybody. I've got some friends that are still in, and God bless them. I missed the true parts of that medium, but I did not count on kind of this evolution and where this has come and the professionalism of all of this and really the consumption. I saw it when you guys launched. I'll never forget walking around the office and just seeing the number of people who had it up on their computers. So to me, that was, it's a small micro sample size, but it certainly had that, integration into the market. So,
and that would be the belly of the beast, right? Because you're
100%.
Talking about CSEC, the Flames office.
100%.
So yeah.
So no, I did not expect to come back. It was nice. Every once in a while I'd pop on, you guys go away at Christmas time. So I'd pop on, and in the summertime I'd pop on or whatever, and we'd do something. It was good. But no, up until about a year ago, I wasn't planning on coming back. I was planning on going down another path. But, the nice thing about this is I'm being given an opportunity that I never thought I'd get, which is to do that, but also leaves me time to kind of start my own business on the consulting side, which I'm currently active in. And so it's been a blessing. It's just, I'm truly, really, really lucky.
So just a game, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
and,
or Tuesday,
the whole
Tuesday.
Thing,
yeah, right.
Right. But
Feels
the
like
whole thing is almost tailor-made for you, and we almost laugh about it because you can go as long as you want, when you want.
Does Tan Man know that?
Do whatever whatever the topic, because that was the thing that kind of boxed you in a little bit. Was, well, we've got sponsor this and we got to do promotional that, and you can't do this because we're tied in with this.
You want to break here, you got to be back by this time.
And you were, there were not, you were shackled by any means, but this is almost ultimate freedom.
It is,
and
that's the word I'd use, is freedom. And I had that when I started Just a Game. I feel like I've got that now. I think it's worth noting, and I'm very appreciative of, I don't know if we name drop the big guys, but like Jay and Jared have been terrific in this. And I think initially I was coming on the FlamesNation brand, but now I'm the Nation Network brand, because I'm actually going to be a sports talk show. I'm not going to be a hockey show. Lots of hockey, don't get me wrong, but we are going to get into the CFL. We are going to get into Major League Baseball. We are going to get into the Surge and the Cavalry and those other stories. And quite honestly, we've got I think some really cool stories to tell about this city. And right now, I think all the time of the original Batman and Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and that line, this city needs an enema. This city needs something now, because it's a little bit down at the lip. It's a little bit limping behind everybody. It's got no heroes. There's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of cat fighting. But honestly, there's also some incredible things going on. So we got to kind of, a little energy, give it a little juice, make people proud to be promote the fact that they're proud to be Calgarians. I don't want to say that everybody isn't, but it's in the last 4, 5, 6 years. The building, I think the lack of a new building, I think, kind of the big thing fizzled out. There's, all kinds of things that, could have brought some prominence back, some luster back to the community, and it hasn't happened. The Fieldhouse debacle keeps to continue. So that's one of the things I want to do, is certainly tell some of the local stories, and get out and mix it up and put the big boy pants on and go out and debate some stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
He's the best at it.
I think it all started when Rhett left town.
It didn't help.
That was a huge
I think
blow
people
for
look at
Calgary.
that, the measuring stick in the 80s was when the Rats actually left the ship.
Yeah.
You knew something was wrong, right? So in the case of Retro moving to Buffalo,
It's the canary in the coal mine.
people exactly.
Yeah.
People are like, tooth is out of the tube. Now what do we do?
Mm-hmm. If
Wow,
Rhett's
the Rats have followed
why
me
are the
around.
freeways not ramped.
Have they? I'm upset to hear that.
Florida, and I'm spent a lot of time with Rats in my life. So I want to ask you a question.
Your name with the Saskatoon Blades was the Pied Piper, but here we are.
You obviously went away and you did a lot of stuff, and you've given back to the community and the province in so many different ways. Do you think that leaving and now coming back, is it more clear that this is a passion of yours and that this is what you should be doing? Because I feel like this is Rob Kerr. To me, this is Rob Kerr.
Agree.
And I don't begrudge you for what you did, and you left and you tried different things. I think that's all part of life's grand adventures, and it's important to try different things. But when I think of Rob Kerr, I see you behind a mic with your cans on talking. And it gives me goosebumps to think that you're going to come back. And I hope I'm not wrong, but it feels like this is your passion and what you should be doing.
Well, I appreciate that, Retro. And you're not wrong either. Yeah, I mean, you can ask Boom, you can ask any of my friends. There are moments. Poor Luke Dury over at CSEC, one of the sales guys or suite guys. Every once in a while, he'd catch me at the coffee machine and he'd go, "Hey, that game," and bang, I'd break out into, let's do a show right now.
Careful.
Yeah.
How much time you got?
Yeah, exactly. So I do feel it is. I just, like I say, and no, it's not anybody's fault. There's no villain in this. I wrote something on LinkedIn today and I said, Kelly Kersh tried hard over there to give me that freedom. He did, but it was the machine, and the machine was promote. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It really struck me. It really felt bad. I felt embarrassed, and I felt, kind of just all of those emotions when I'm doing a show on radio, and in the commercials, we're promoting a TV show with Tim and Sid. Go watch that instead of listen to this. And there's a great line. Pat McAfee had it. He tweeted, it's not his, but it really hit home for me. You want to be somewhere where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I really feel like, here you guys are celebrated as you should be. I feel that way too. So yeah, I do. I want to come back. I hope I'm not out of step. I hope I'm not old news. I hope I'm not the old man on the on the step screaming at the clouds. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on in sports, and I really want to go after that. But there's also some stuff that's pissing me off. I'll be perfectly blunt, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, I love it. It's like he's got butterflies again. He's the rookie stepping into the lineup. This is the magic. That he's nervous gets me excited.
You know what? Rhett nailed it. Because I chuckled and I talked to him. I'm like, dude, this is what you should be doing. I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. How many times have I touched?
I know.
Oh, but what do you think, dude? No,
just do it.
Because you were the like no one I've ever seen where as soon as the mics came on, it was okay. Hang on to the table because we're going now. We're about to the wheels up. Here we go, and you will not be out of step because you have too much passion for that. I think guys get out of step when they don't give a shit anymore, but you give as much a shit as you ever have, maybe more. So the passion is there. I'm happy for you, and it's about trying to turn, positives from negatives and that. And as soon as I had heard that you'd been let go, it was like, well, this is a natural fit. Let's go. Sure. And I am pumped.
Well, I appreciate
to be sitting here today.
Well, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and you guys and what you guys have been able to come and do. I mean, we all sat and said, okay, what they've left, now what happens? And then when you guys, came back with Barn Burner, I'll never forget the teaser. And it's like, holy crap. Okay. And then, okay, day one rough, but day two was like, you never left sort of thing, right?
Day one.
Day one. Sorry, was I not day two?
There was no. I'm sorry. Day one. What do you mean? There
was it? Oh, day two. Sorry, I started watching day two. Yeah, but you know what it reminded me of? But it was like when Stern went to satellite radio and everybody said, okay, hold on. What's that new freedom going to be like? What's that?
How's that going to work?
How does the the collar come off, and that sort of thing. So you're kind of always wondering, like, and the first time I came on here, I was able to drop an F-bomb and do all that stuff. I won't be doing that anymore. I won't. I'm going to try to keep the language on. And there's a good reason. One of our superheroes players, Ty, heard that podcast. Was very upset with me. So we had a conversation about language. So I'm going to try to keep mine in check, and that's for the superhero kids. So I can't promise, but that's But
it's always been better than us.
I'm not better than you. No, I'm not better than you. I'm following
stronger
you guys.
morals.
Yeah. Well, maybe that.
Yeah, for sure that.
Rob Kerr, welcome home, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Just a game,
and in just a little under an hour.
That's right.
Jeez, look at that.
Right here on this same bat channel.
Tight turn.
Great logo.
Hey,
look at that.
Tyler Tanner.
Isn't that incredible?
Man, love it. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, kids.
We will do a couple things, and then we'll get the hell out of the way and make way for just a game. Later this week, we're going to be back at Grey Eagle Casino.
You want to join us? Want to come hang?
Yeah.
We'll be down there watching the Yotes and Flames, doing a little afterburner there.
Afterburner Wednesday night, we will be atop the stage bar once again.
Love it.
A little, talk about another Flames loss.
You know what? We need to mix something up on Afterburner. Right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Have something on the line.
Change scenery isn't the worst thing for the Afterburner.
Maybe we need to create a rally cry for this squad. What's it going to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if they win, we got to do something.
Go on food protest or something like that. I'll go dry if they don't start
Sleep
winning
past
games.
noon. I mean, 2 a.m.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up on Wednesday. A reminder coming up, Friday at the Event Center. The triple header: Toronto, the Headpins, and Lee Aaron in concert. Lee Aaron, what? Was that Lee Aaron? What you do to my body?
Yes, love that video. Great video.
Yeah, who doesn't? So that's at the Event Center. All tickets for events at the Grey Eagle Event Center through Ticketmaster, ticketmaster.ca. That's coming up on Friday night. That will be a banger. And again, less exciting, but we will be there on Wednesday.
Did you say Toronto as well?
That's right. Triple header.
What was their song? Was Your Daddy Don't Know?
That's right. And then, of course, the Headpins. Let's do our Betway Bets of the day and call it a day. What do we got? 9 games? What did I see tonight? 9 games?
I'm dialed in on 1. I'll tell you that.
I'll start us off. So I just kind of went into, right, when you go into the Betway app, they have the specials right across.
Look at this. Wow.
Connor McDavid, Kirill Kaprizov, both to start tonight, plus 200.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
And then, you know what? I think actually the odds are off on this one here because that's really high. Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, and Mitch Marner, each to get a point, is actually minus 150. I may have sent that in wrong, but it's one of, I feel good about the McDavid and the Kaprizov.
Okay.
Then I'm not going to get greedy.
Point for take your money.
A point from Marner had like 100 points in 100 games, whatever it is. All those guys are getting points tonight. So take it. That's a 2-banger right there for you with my bets of the day.
I'm focusing on what should be a fun one tonight. Buffalo hosting Toronto, and what's usually a good road fans will travel environment. Leafs are all fired up after the Ryan O'Reilly deal. Sabres been a ton of fun. Rhett says they like scoring goals, I believe. I could see a lot of goals tonight. Austin Matthews and Wild Bill Nylander, or Wee Willie Nylander, whatever you want to call him, plus 333. Sign me up for that. And I'll take an ROR anytime goal. Ryan O'Reilly hit the crossbar in his debut, and he's got Marner on his wing. That's a good spot to be. I'm not saying the Leafs win, Rhett. I just think this could be a very fun, high-flying, old, battle of the border, the Golden Horseshoe, the Lake Ontario battle. Yeah.
There,
O'Reilly's old squad, too. So
that is
why am I
right.
not going to this game?
You still can, I bet. Probably a seat available, even for an alumni, possibly.
You're golfing.
That's right. You're golfing.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. Jeez, is that already game day? Is that what we're talking about? What's our week look like here? Goodness gracious, we got the whole. You get that Monday off. Tomorrow is game day at Arizona, followed by a game day Thursday at Vegas.
Wow, busy.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Have a great day, Retro. Good to see you.
Chat tomorrow.
Oilers suck.
Okay, there you go. See you tomorrow, buddies.